Testifying before Congress.
So how did it go?
TikTok.
The TikTok bite dance.
Yes.
We have to be more specific.
Yes.
It was a complete embarrassment. For 5 hours with only 3 10-minute breaks, CEO was completely disrespected by a panel of U.S. representatives.
Does TikTok support good?
You're a logical man, I assume.
The chair lady, she said, you got to tell the truth, okay?
I'm going to talk to you in some language that maybe you'll better understand.
Everybody in this room understands that, except maybe you.
One thing was clear. A majority of our representatives obviously had no idea what they were talking about.
So, Weekend, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation.
TikTok.
The physical service.
By engineers,
private
Bite Dance, Communist Party.
No.
Does TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network?
How does TikTok rather?
What? They grilled him on his company's private financials, information he was under no obligation to share.
How much money?
What is your salary?
Is that an accurate forecast?
How much revenue is generated per user?
As a private company, I would prefer to keep my compensation private. We are not disclosing our financials today. Congressman, we...
Private company, and you're not going to tell me.
And he often had political talking points thrown at him with no ability to respond.
Can I respond?
We're going to move on.
Is it okay if I just very quickly respond?
Unfortunately,
Madam Chair, if I may, I'd like to respond to that very quickly.
the gentleman's time has expired.
You have given me no time to
Open,
answer your
California.
questions.
Despite this repetitive pressuring and complete disrespect, he was actually quite open about his financials.
Do you have any financial debts or obligations to ByteDance?
No, I do not.
And he was considerate about legitimate security concerns.
We have heard important concerns need to address the problem of privacy. I agree with you. Our approach has never been to dismiss or trivialize any of these concerns.
So what is the real issue here? Regarding the security concerns, there were a few representatives who actually took their job seriously and asked some legitimate questions.
India banned the use of TikTok. New Zealand, Canada, United Kingdom, Belgium, European Union all cited security risks with the company's data collection and connection to the Chinese Communist Party. Our U.S. FBI director said that this is a tool that is ultimately within the control of the Chinese government. It screams out with national security concerns. Mr. Chu, how can all of these countries and our own FBI director have been wrong?
This is a good point. Lots of countries have banned TikTok, so what do they believe is the risk? China has a law that requires its citizens and companies to provide intelligence data when asked.
China's 2017 national intelligence law states very clearly that, quote, any organization or citizen shall support, assist, and cooperate with state intelligence work in accordance with the law and maintain the secrecy of all knowledge of state intelligence work. In other words, ByteDance and also your TikTok employees that live in China, they must cooperate with Chinese intelligence whenever they are called upon. And if they are called upon, they're bound to secrecy.
We hear these concerns. We didn't try to avoid them or trivialize them. We built something where we take that data and put it out of reach.
But they own you. ByteDance owns TikTok, and the CCP owns ByteDance because CCP owns everybody in China. And so by law, they can make them do whatever they want, and they say that by law, you can't tell anyone about it. So that's our concern. I want to say this to all the teenagers out there and TikTok influencers who think we're just old and out of touch and don't know what we're talking about, trying to take away your favorite app. You may not care that your data is being accessed now, and with data comes power. They can choose what you see and how you see it. They can make you believe things that are not true. They can encourage you to engage in behavior that will destroy your life. Even if it is not happening yet, it could in the future. The long-term goal of the Chinese Communist Party is the demise of the American power, and that starts with our youth. At any moment, they could demand that all of TikTok's data be used to design an AI algorithm with the sole purpose of promoting Chinese interests and destroying our society from within.
To address these concerns, Mr. Chu has begun an initiative called Project Texas, which aims to move all of sensitive American data into servers located in Austin, Texas. There it will be controlled by American employees underneath American supervision, subject to American laws and audited by American experts.
When that is done, all protected U.S. data will be under the protection of U.S. law, and under the control of the U.S.-led security team. This eliminates the concern that some of you have shared with me. The TikTok user data can be subject to Chinese law. We expect that to be complete this year.
He has also shared a lot of proprietary information in regards to how the TikTok recommendation algorithm actually works.
We will also provide unprecedented transparency and security for the source code for the TikTok app and recommendation engine. This goes further, by the way, than what any other company in our industry have done.
But will this be enough? That remains the question. U.S. senators fear that for the 9 months that it will take to be able to move all of the sensitive data into Austin, Texas, that might still be too big of a risk to allow TikTok to operate outside of the U.S.
Do they have access to user data?
After Project Texas is done, the answer is no.
As a result, some representatives are pushing TikTok to sell so that they become an American company. Mr. Chu argues that there is no evidence to support this, and there have been no good arguments made as to why Project Texas wouldn't bring any risk down to what is already an industry standard.
If you look at the subtext, this is something that every company could do. Frankly, I haven't heard any good reason why this doesn't work. I don't think ownership is the issue here. American social companies don't have a good track record with data privacy and user security. I mean, look at Facebook and Cambridge Analytica.
Personally, here's where I stand. The US government has not convinced me that the Chinese government has abused its power in relation to TikTok. To do so, they would need to provide actual evidence, and so far they've only said that there is a DOJ investigation that's ongoing. The concern about the possibility that the Chinese government might interfere seems legit, though. Lots of countries from around the world have already recognized this risk, which is why they've banned TikTok from being able to be on government devices.
That's our concern. Maybe you haven't done it yet, but my point is that you might have to.
And the American government, along with most of the world, recognizes that the Chinese government's treatment of Uyghur Muslims amounts to genocide.
The Chinese government has persecuted the Uyghur population.
This is clear evidence that the Chinese government is willing to abuse its power. However, the stance that the US is taking is inconsistent. They claim that the risk is that the Chinese government can coerce a Chinese employee of TikTok to access sensitive American data, and they have to acknowledge that that risk exists for all social media platforms.
A lot of it is speculation, something they could do. But if you look at the subtext, this is something that every company could do.
This leaves them with two options. Ban all tech companies from working with Chinese employees or find another solution. This is where I side with Mr. Chu. If the risks exist and separating ourselves completely from China is unrealistic, then the next best option seems to be transparency. I see TikTok's willingness to accommodate for US concerns as a good faith effort. They've already publicly committed to not allowing any government to interfere on their platform, and they've invested $1.5 billion so far in Project Texas. If there is a risk of Chinese manipulation, then auditing for this risk seems like the next appropriate step. But this is just my opinion as a critical citizen. Of course, there are a lot of other topics discussed during the hearing, some of which were good questions with legitimate answers.
Does TikTok keep records of users' credit cards and passwords?
Are individuals with eating disorders shown more distressing content? What about those with mental health issues?
How quickly does your algorithm detect keywords or content that involve illicit drug trafficking?
And others that weren't.
Does TikTok support genocide?
But this video took me 3 straight days to make, so I need a break. If you found this video helpful and would like me to summarize the other topics, show me your appreciation by clicking those side buttons, and follow along here and on my other platforms in case TikTok gets banned. And remember that you have been invited as an active citizen to participate in this discussion.
We think engaged citizens are welcome and a valuable part of the political process.
Contact your representatives, or if you'd like, you can sign a petition that I have linked down in the description.